Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say. Mother.
Fuck the media. My name is Rod.
Can you keep them in the dark, the light? Can you hide them from
Rodgraphing@gmail.com. That's my email address. So I guess George Herbert Walker Bush is going to vote for Hillary. That's what I'm hearing across the news today. Is that some Points of Light Foundation soiree, and some chick, some broad, I don't remember her name, Kathleen something or other, had a conversation with him and then proceeded to tweet. There you go, social media. Social media, once again the culprit, tweeted that George Bush 41, George Herbert Walker Bush, was going to vote for Hillary, and the media is having a field day with it. They love it. They absolutely... Wolf Blitzer, I think, maybe came in his pants when he read that story. He was just so beside himself. Now the liberals will be falling all over themselves talking about how the elder statesman George H.W. Bush is putting country first ahead of party, voting for Hillary Clinton. He's with her. Extolling the virtue of a guy that they, basically trashed the shit out of while he was president. But now, by God, he's finally come to his senses. He's with her. And I say good. Good for you, George H.W. Maybe the rest of the Bushes will follow suit, along with the long list of names that I heard read of all the prominent Republicans that are going to vote for Hillary. Good. Oh, Mitt Romney, thank you. Thanks for showing me your true colors. So I hate you fucking guys. So I don't call myself a conservative or a Republican anymore, because you're nothing but a bunch of namby-pamby pussy boys who have danced around on the fucking head of a pin because you're afraid of what? The media. Never did a damn thing you said you were gonna for us. Not a damn thing. Scared. And you're part of the establishment, so it makes perfect sense to me why George H.W. Bush would be voting for Hillary Clinton, because God knows. Better her than some political outsider. What political prowess does the Bush family have with the likes of Donald Trump? Nothing. None. Zero. Nothing. Speaking of kids, did you hear the Skittles controversy? Trump's kid, Don Jr., puts out some tweet comparing the Syrian refugee crisis to a bowl of Skittles, and making the analogy that if you took a handful and you knew 3 of them would kill you, would you still eat them? I think that's pretty goddamn brilliant, if you ask me. It gets right to the point. It makes the point perfectly, what we're dealing with when it comes to radical Islamists infiltrating the refugee ranks. It makes perfect sense to me, but no. Instead, we're going to have an argument that Skittles aren't people, refugees are people, as told to us by the CEO of M&M Mars, who had to come out and rail against Don Jr. using his wonderful little candy product as an analogy. He couldn't have that. And now, oh my God, don't you think the Trump campaign has stepped in it again? They just can't seem to catch a break. Every time things seem to start going good, one of them just has to open their goddamn mouth and fuck shit up. Well, at least according to the media. That's the way the media sees it. Most people out here with common sense don't see it that way. We understand that they're, making points, common sense points, No one should be offended at that tweet. No one should be offended at that analogy. No one. But in the age of political correctness, what matters isn't the fact that we've had people, and still have people, coming here to the United States, as well as Europe, embedded in these hordes of refugees that are Islamic extremists. That's not the point. No, you don't compare Skittles and refugees. I love how liberals like to bunny trail shit so that you don't ever really talk about the issue at hand. How about Ahmed Khan? I'll see if I get his name right this time. Ahmed Khan Rouhani. Ahmed Khan Rouhani. You hear this story today? Another great one. Another instance of our famous government failing us. This is the guy, obviously, I've heard his name enough times by now. The guy that made the pressure cooker bombs and put them in New York, New Jersey. Was apprehended yesterday, I think it was, yesterday morning. Well, it turns out that his dad told the FBI that his son was a terrorist 2 years ago. I was yelling yesterday at how this guy had been to Pakistan and Afghanistan and spent a lot of time over there, you know, but came back in and through the screening process, he said the right things, he's fine, let him go. There's failure number one right there. Failure number two, his father called the FBI after he pulled a knife and stabbed his own brother. And said, my son is a terrorist. But the FBI's, nothing to see here, folks, move along. The grand jury decided not to indict Mr. Rouhani either in this incident. Don't you wonder what the fuck's going on there? I do. I don't have to wonder too much, because right back to the same politically correct argument why you can't compare refugees to Skittles is you can't say bad shit about Muslims today. You can't. You just can't do it. The FBI can't do it. The cops can't do it. No one can do it. Well, Donald Trump can do it, and he can get shit for it. But no one else better do it, because they'll be in trouble. Why do you think this Ahmed Khan Rouhani is still out and about? Failure. An abject failure on the part of our officials not to get this guy and put him away. I know, I can hear you all out there talking about, yeah, but Rod, this is any different than some nut who takes a gun and shoots up a movie. Yes, it is different. You want to know how it's different? I'll tell you how it's different. If you are that intellectually stupid that you can't make a distinction between a global Islamic terrorist threat and some nutcase who gets a gun and wants to kill people, then there's nothing for us to talk about. You are what I like to call a lost cause. If you can't make a distinction between a common criminal who's probably a few bricks shy of a load and people like, I don't know, the San Bernardino shooter, how about Omar Mateen down in Florida shooting up a nightclub? If you can't make a distinction between a common criminal and people like this that are connected to a vast network of an extremist group that is at war with us, that supports them, that indoctrinates them, that radicalizes them, if you can't make that distinction, if you see these two things as on par, then you're a lost cause. And I don't need to talk to you anymore about this, because you've already got your mind made up as to what is. It isn't, but in your mind it is. You're one of these people who thinks you have it figured out, but you haven't opened your eyes far enough. Speaking of tweets, the Skittles tweet, again, social media. This is why I include social media in with the mainstream media, how it's tearing our country apart and dividing us. Donald Trump put out a tweet today. I'll have to paraphrase the tweet because I don't know it word for word. But it was basically something to the effect that, well, Hillary's taking the day off today. She must need a nap. She must need to recuperate. Well, see ya at the debate. That was basically what the tweet said. And now the media is losing their fucking mind. Well, of course they are. You can't touch the golden child. You can't touch their gal. I actually heard the guy that reported the story, he had to throw in his little bit of commentary. Hillary Clinton is not taking a nap. She's home preparing for the debates on Monday. How the fuck would you know that's what she's doing? Did you call her? Hillary, Trump says you're taking a nap. Just wanted to check in. Are you? Well, no, I am preparing for the debates. Is that what happened? No, this was just another instance of a reporter in the mainstream media taking an opportunity to defend his gal. I don't hear reporters ever do that kind of thing for Donald Trump when he's accused of something. But Donald Trump's not talking about racial profiling. He's just talking about using profiling as a tool to ferret out Islamic extremists. Like the FBI profiles people. We all profile in our lives. Never said racial profiling, not for a minute. But that's what they said he did. How come they don't defend him the same way they defend her? Oh, that's right. Because they're in the tank for the broad. That's why. 100% in the tank. Speaking of in the tank, I'm full of segues today. I'm going to run out of time. I don't pay for Spreaker. I ran out of time last time. I'm going to run out of time again. I hate that. I really do. Get on a good roll and then it just ends. Speaking of in the tank for Hillary, this is, to me, is despicable. Even deplorable. Barack Obama. In his farewell address to the old UN today. I listened to that speech. It was not a speech, and it wasn't a farewell address to the UN either. What it was? I'll tell you what it was. It was a stump speech for Hillary Clinton. What a disgrace that was. This guy gets up there and talks about basically himself, his legacy, how he's progressed the world in the right direction. Everything's fine. Everything's good because I know it's not perfect, but god damn it, I got things going the right way and we got to keep it going this way. And a nation that builds walls around itself is destined to, implode, or I don't remember what he said. Doesn't matter. Reference Trump's wall, never use the name, but certainly made the case to the UN for his gal, Hillary. That's what he chose to do for his farewell address. His last address as President of the United States was a campaign speech for Hillary Rodham Clinton. Ridiculous. You got things going in the right direction, do you? Well, I think maybe about half of this country probably thinks that. You know, the same half that thinks it's perfectly fine for Colin Kaepernick to sit on his knee on the sideline. And on that note, I see this come across social media today. Some restaurant owner in Minnesota, or the Somali guy, another one of those guys that is a Skittle. That's what I'm going to start calling him now, the Skittle. We had a Skittle attack at a Minnesota mall, and then these dummies on the freaking news today are talking about there's an attack in rural Minnesota. Hey, fuckface, you ever been to Minneapolis before? Not really rural. I don't know what part of the world. These people are so disconnected. They have no clue. They really don't. Anyway, he in reference to the Skittle that stabbed 9 people in a Minneapolis mall, this St. Cloud restaurant owner guy puts on his little billboard out front, Muslims go home. Muslims go home. And then when he's interviewed, he's like, well, I meant to say radical Muslims, but I didn't have enough room on the sign. Nice save there, Chico. That was fantastic. But regardless of how he meant it or what he meant by it, he put it on his sign. And people are losing their minds on Facebook now. You get all upset over this, and what about over an athlete that won't take a knee, that takes a knee during the national anthem, but you let this shit go? Yeah. You want to know something? It's the same fucking thing, you liberal people out there. You tolerant liberals. You're not. Stop with that.